What's up, YouTube? It is Filthy Casual coming at you with a quick video about really the Warriors and where they're at right now. Obviously, the Warriors are one of my favorite teams. They've got garbage right over there. And they've been struggling probably more than most people thought to start the season, myself included. There have been some bright spots. Jonathan Kuminga has made tons and tons of progress this season. He has been such a bright spot after a really rough start. He is giving excellent effort on defense, and even beyond the effort, he's making smarter decisions. So he's making smarter decisions. His three ball has been falling. He's been aggressive, but he's also not been aggressive like, oh, I got to get mine in the same way that he was last year. He's taking his time. He knows, hey, I got to, do this handoff, run this action, get the ball to Steph, get the ball to Draymond, swing it, make the extra pass. Let me give it to Moody in the corner. There's this play where, he had an open three and a guy was closing out to him on the right wing, out on a kind of somewhat of a broken possession. And he had initiated the possession as well, and he got the ball back, and instead of taking the open three, he swung it to Moody in the corner, who had a much more open shot, and Moody hit it, and it was just a moment where I was like, Kuminga's starting to get it. And that's a really good sign for the Warriors, because if he can give you like 15 to 25 minutes a game in a playoff series of like quality minutes, that's really big for this team, because let me be real, their depth sucks. And I'm not saying their depth minus Poole. I mean their depth sucks. Jordan Poole has had a rough start to the season. His free throw shooting is down. His 3-point percentage is down. He's not getting to the basket with the same kind of ability as he was last year, probably because they're calling carries slightly more. And let's be real, Poole probably carries the second most in the league after Ja Morant, because Ja Morant carries the ball like ain't nobody's business. That man carries the ball like crazy. But yeah, like Poole carries the ball like nothing, and they've been calling carries and travels on him. And I think it's but even before they were really doing that, he wasn't really having a great start to his season. I don't really know. I said when the Warriors gave Poole the contract that it was a bad contract, that he did not play to that contract yet, and that he had the potential for it. And it made me, a little bit nervous, because I'm going to be real here. The Warriors have been able to maintain their dynasty for as long as they have because they've made really smart roster decisions. They've been able to get, Bielitsa, Gary Payton II, Otto Porter Jr., for really cheap. And even going back, Festus Ezeli, Zaza Pachulia, they were able to get, people on bad contracts or good contracts rather. Steph Curry on the 44 mil. They were able to get Sean Livingston and Harrison Barnes for not like incredibly high value. Like, they made smart contract decisions. And the Poole contract didn't strike me as a smart contract decision. And I don't know how much of their hand got forced because of the whole Draymond punching situation, but that really seemed to me like it was like, okay, now we got to give this guy money, and we want him to be happy and to be comfortable in our team, so we're going to give him maybe a little bit extra than we initially were going to. That being said, this year might be kind of a punt at this point. Not to say that they can't come back and still win it. I'm still picking the Warriors at this point to win the title, but that feels at this point more of a homer pick than a, true belief at this point. Klay Thompson has definitely gotten much, much better and back to where he was from before. I'm not saying he's like the best two-way player in the league like he was before, but I mean, like, he's scoring, he's playing within the offense, and he's playing around Steph Curry, which he wasn't really doing before. He was playing Klay Thompson ball, not Warriors ball. And Warriors ball is really Steph Curry ball. So that's been excellent. And their starting lineup is the best lineup in the league. But there's signs of cracks. Draymond's not as athletic as he was. He's still smart on defense, and but he's, his height his jumps and on his contests aren't as good, so their rim protection isn't as good, so their defense isn't as good. And not to say that's only on Draymond. I mean, obviously missing out on, smart, active defenders. Gary Payton, Otto Porter Jr. was a really solid defender last year. Even Bielitsa had like really good defensive moments that we haven't really been able to see out of, Wiseman or Jermichael. Can I stop and talk about Jermichael Green for a second? This man is good at nothing. He does nothing well. He can't shoot. He can't defend. He doesn't really like rebound well. He's not like an excellent, intangibles guy. He's just kind of there. And it's really weird. Like, he's not like you'd think that he would have had like a good like basketball IQ, but like no, I wouldn't even say like he's like a good passer either. Like, he's just kind of existing in the Warriors lineup to like eat up minutes and hopefully not lose them the game when like Poole is like 2 for 20 and has like 7 points, which feels like it's been happening more and more frequently. I'm concerned about the Warriors. I'm concerned about the Warriors at this point. I was waiting on this video. I've recorded something similar to this, but I always kind of felt like, oh, well, we should wait and see. And I still somewhat feel like we should wait and see. But honestly, the Warriors have me very concerned at this point. And I'm not out, but I'm starting to think about it. Obviously, Steph is injured for at least a few weeks. Going to save me some money because I was going to have to spend $400 to get even remotely decent seats at the Garden to see him. And now I'm not paying $400 for those seats. So, I get to save some money. But on the downside, Steph Curry's injured. And the team really, really needs, someone to step up. And the someone is probably going to be Jordan Poole. I think Jordan Poole is much more comfortable in that lead position than he is in the backup. His performance is much better when he's got the ball in his hands way more, which is kind of problematic when you're like, what, the 4th best player on the team? Because I don't think Poole's better than Clay right now. I don't think he's better. He might even be the 5th. So he's the 4th option because Steph, Wiggins, and Clay are all better offensive options than Poole at this point. They all are. Wiggins is Mr. Consistent. He's averaging 19 a game, but it really feels more like 22. Clay is, he found his 3-point shooting shot. I already talked about him. And Steph is Steph. So he's really the 4th best offensive player on the team at the moment. And if you are not efficient and need the ball in your hands more than all those other players, that's an issue. That's an issue because then we're putting the ball in Poole's hands and he's not Steph Curry. Steph Curry doesn't make mistakes the way Poole makes. Like, he doesn't turn the ball over in the same way Jordan Poole turns the ball over. He doesn't. He knows how to slow it down, take his time. Like, he's got all that vet savviness that Poole just doesn't have yet. And the team is better when the ball's in Steph's hand, not when the ball's in Poole's hands. But Poole's better with the ball in his hands. It feels weird because in some ways, he's sort of become the KD replacement where he wants to be the lead guy on this team, except KD was an all-time great and Poole is still figuring it out. And let's be real, he's not KD. Other than that, I just want to briefly touch on Moody and Wiseman. And then I'll get into Steph's MVP stuff. Moody is struggling more than I thought he would. He really is. And I'm not really quite certain what exactly it is about Moody's game that isn't working. His shot really isn't falling so well this year, which has severely limited his value. But also his defense isn't really where even it was last year, which I'm not really sure if there are some personal things going on or what's up with that. But maybe it's the fact that they're just championships. They're a championship team now, and everybody's like giving them their best shot on a nightly basis. But something about Moody, like he's not as confident as he was last year. He was like, "I'm here, I belong." And this year, he feels more tentative. I should say, he feels more tentative. Beyond that, Wiseman. Wiseman. Maybe he's not a bust. Anybody who's saying, "Oh, Wiseman's a bust," I don't know. Anthony Bennett 2.0. He's no. I'm sorry. Wiseman's a good player. He's a good player. He's got so much talent, and eventually he will be a star in the league. I don't know when it's going to happen. It might take 5 years because it's certainly not happening this year. It's certainly not happening this year, and it's certainly not happening next year. The guy has a lot to learn about. I will say his time in the G League has done him well. The game that he came up to play when like all the Warriors were injured, when Steph was out, Clay was out, Draymond was out, Wiggins was out, like everybody's sitting, he played really well. Not like really well, but like he there were signs of improvement. Like his screen setting was much better, which is a big thing in the Warrior system. Like you gotta be able to set a screen as a big. Like you have to be able to set a screen as a big. Like Looney, one of his best qualities, being able to set a really good screen. Draymond, same as well. Steph, Clay, great screeners. You got to be able to set a screen. And Wiseman wasn't able to do that. So if he can improve upon that, maybe he can do something. I think the other thing is that for whatever reason, last year he had like pretty solid hands. Or not last year, the year before, like in his rookie season, he had like good hands. He could catch the ball. And like now it just feels like he's dropping everything. And I don't know if it's a confidence thing or like what exactly it is, but he's struggling. And I'm on the fence about trading him. I really am. I think he has value. What that value exactly is, I'm not super sure. I think, and I don't mean that like, oh, I'll give you like one first round pick and like a decent player. Like, no, I think he's better than that. I think Wiseman is someone who can really give you a shot. And I think there are some teams that would be stupid not to go after him, like, because he's got a lot going on there. Especially a lot of those lower teams. And I think, but the issue that I think with that is I think that a lot of people are tanking for Wemby right now. And I think what's going to happen is that over the offseason, one of those teams is going to look up and say, we didn't get Wembanyama. Maybe we should trade for Wiseman. Maybe we should get Wiseman to pair with, Cade Cunningham. Maybe we should get Wiseman to pair with Tyrese. These type of thoughts are going to start going through people's heads. So I don't think the Warriors are going to trade them until that point, which means that this season might just end up being like, hey, this is the roster. Like, let's see if we can figure it out, because it doesn't make sense for the team to punt on that value, which is unfortunate because Steph Curry started the year off like obviously having one of the best years of his career, if not the best. And then he very much had to slow it down, tune it back, because he needed to start getting players involved and working in the system, which worked, got Clay under control. Unfortunately, Wiggins has been out, which has really tanked a lot of their winning chances in a lot of these games, especially because Draymond is continuing to regress. And it's not like it's a major regression for Draymond. It's just like that much. It's like from here to like here. It's like a slight difference, but when the thing you bring is so specific, it's noticeable. And at the end of the day, this season is going to be very interesting to see how the Warriors work it out. That was a bit of a ramble on the Warriors. I'm gonna upload this, so hopefully someone likes it.